came all the way down from Worcester, Mass. Did I say he drove down from Worcester, Mass? He drove down from Worcester. Give it up for my good friend, dope poet, phenomenal writer, Sam Capauldi. Give it up, man.
Always a pleasure, Mr. Moss. Thank you very much. So, I got two short poems. But before that, something really weird happened last year. It's a great example. High school never stops. You just leave it. But the thing you're gonna learn is, you too, not everybody leaves high school. Like, I graduated in Vermont. The one school in Vermont, I graduated with 24 other people. We all knew each other. Way too much. I got a message about halfway through 2016 saying, "Hey man, everyone was talking about you." Are you about to ask me for money? No, I just wanted to let you know that everyone back in high school is really proud of what you did. We were all at the reunion, the 10-year reunion, reminiscing about how awesome you used to be. The important thing for that is that 3 days before, like 3 days before this dude messaged me out of the middle of nowhere to let me know that everyone at my high school reunion was so proud of me, Donald Trump called me fat on CNN. Seriously, like, I was protesting. He was at Worcester, you know, like, if Satan shows up in your hometown, you're gonna throw a tomato. He has earned that much. So, the lesson is that, even though Facebook has made communication super easy, I never got the ability to not go to my high school reunion because they didn't invite me. And that's the strangest thing that happened last year. If we all believe it, at least for tonight, it's true. I also got married. That's not weird. That's a blessing. Thank you. The lesson I learned from that is that it is not easy to be married to me. Thank you, Sheldon. So, it's not easy to be married to me. That is the sentiment that helps me end all of the arguments I start. She tells me I'm comfortable. I tell her I'm awkward and damp. She laughs, says that I'm good for sitting on, like a beanbag chair. I say, I'm just shaped like one. Think, if I were a beanbag chair, I would slough off the skin, rough as cooked tongue, and bury my particulate body in more respectable furniture. So before I got married, before we bought a house in the suburbs, and I became normal, I lived in a bordello owned by the Taft family in Uxbridge. And it was with like 4 other dudes, all of whom were named Shane, or Steve, or Stevie. This is a poem about that house. There are 17 men named Shane in this house, and they all have beards. The only thing more expired than the milk is the fire extinguisher, and most of the couches landed in rooms before the walls did. See, old houses get built like pearls. Someone gets bored of moving something for long enough that the whole room distorts itself around it like an event horizon for pocket change, lighters, and dust. Me and all the non-Shanes took it out with a sledgehammer. The couch, not the milk. The heavy cream had dried like watercolor mildew, and no refrigerator needs this many half-full jars of mustard. Like, what? There's so much mustard! Did someone invade Poland? There's no bread! There's a bag of sunflower seeds underneath a Leonard Cohen album in the refrigerator. There is no need to store vinyl in the vegetable crisper. There's a bucket of hammers next to a piano of discord. There are only colored light bulbs in the overhead lights and all of the windows are stained. There's a plasma screen TV next to a rear projection screen TV because picture-in-picture is for quitters. The bookshelf in the bathroom holds enough Stephen King hardbacks to qualify as a library in Maine. There's an unlabeled pill bottle in the freezer, full of mysterious lumpy powder. It might be drugs. It might be bullion. The electric walk has gone feral and is attempting to impregnate my winter hat. What happenstance has created this temple of 2 kettles and no teapots? I'm filtering Genmaica through the gaps in my teeth and watching dust get shaken out of cobwebs by manic wall squirrels. This used to be a bordello. This used to be a holding cell for the Taft dynasty. There's a rusted open safe holding nothing but a mason jar full of old keys, each one tied to a luggage tag bearing a woman's name. You can't live where the walls sag so heavy with metaphor. The master suite is used exclusively for 2nd edition Dungeons & Dragons, because 3rd edition is for quitters. Men smoked cigars and plotted where now goblins are slain on paper. The hardwood floor was torn up because those telltale hearts kept all the shames awake at night. A pearl is how the ocean records an overreaction. A house is how we catalog ghosts. I have not yet turned to find myself waiting in the room I have just left, but when that happens, I know exactly where Shane keeps his index. So speaking of weird things that definitely didn't happen last year, and definitely have not been extremely accelerated over the past few weeks, this space is important. All of you here are important. Daryl, everything you do for the city is important. Job here, Hugh, you are important. And it's important to remember that this is fragile. And that if we don't work relentlessly at it for every waking moment of every single day. There's a baby right there, so I have to keep this clean. Very mean fellow will sell it off to the highest bidder and pick his teeth with the bones. Community is the space between your hands. It is a garden you plant in other people's yards. Every windsill is covered in dirt because spring is transmitted via photons. Watch me pull a sprout free from a damp paper towel. Watch me snake the rhizome through gaps in the weave and safeguard it in ready soil. I will hold so still I rust. A battleship reclaimed by mangroves, birds picking at the bugs in my bark, rodents nesting in my pits, all of my hard, violent edges blunted by moss. My shoulders a fight club for squirrels, my head an aviary for night-born hunters. Does God still build gardens? Did the failure of Eden sour their taste for the practice? In permaculture, the presence of snakes is a sign of a healthy ecosystem. Serpents eat rodents. Rodents are bastards. To rid yourself of snakes, pray for raptors. To rid yourself of bastards, hold them accountable. Find the warm rocks where they wait and bury them. Fill the skies with hungry talons. This is how a garden corrects an imbalance. Falcons are how God accounts for miscalculations. If you hold still enough, the world will absorb you. Will drink the water trapped in your creases and spread life through all of your unused recesses. You know a farm is a genuine Vermont-style dilapidated shanty when the roof yields more life than the fields. The pine forest sprouts between shingles fed by fallen needles. Gutters choke on oak leaves as acorns life raft together against a revitalizing flood. What life is in this resurrection? What blossoms in the house below? A cavalry of mold and fungus. Mycelium with just teeth sharp enough to chew drywall and offer forth sacrificial pulp for the waiting forest above. Watch me make every Eden edible. Watch me coax a jungle from my windowsill. I will spread like loam over hungry roots. Birds carry my fingertips to the farthest reaches of the world such that I can remain clutching it all so tightly. I once held a fussy baby's ear up to my heartbeat and loved her to sleep. I held her so still she dreamed a maze of primary colors fractaling across the living room carpet. Did Indiana Jones ever feed baby goats? Has Charlton Heston ever woken up to find his newly adopted cat nursing her 2 kittens on top of my favorite band t-shirt that I was wearing at the time? There's no shape for men like me. There are 1,000 books that teach you how to grow rice in the desert, and none of them know my father's name. Why is being a gentleman all about holding doors and not hatching ducklings with the heat of my own palms? Women can open their own damn doors. Perception doesn't even have a knob, but that didn't stop Eve from blowing those gates so wide God had to seal them with a damn sword. Ducklings are incapable of generating their own heat. They need community. They need the warmth of hands.